I, Joseph Ole Lenku, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Only 3 queries. That is starting with the report for the year ended June 2021, distribution of relief food. And then we'll proceed to the other 2, which are in the year ended June 2022. That is an approved emergency expenditure and poor project implementation. So, Auditor, please read out the query, the first query.
Distribution of relief food. Included in the general expenses is a balance of 43 million 408 850 incurred on the purchase of COVID-19 relief food. However, supporting documents indicating how relief food worth 15,469,450 was distributed to the beneficiaries in Kajiado Central constituency were not provided for audit review. In the circumstances, the accuracy and validity of the general expenditure of 104,390,996 for the year ended 30th June 2021 could not be confirmed.
Governor, your management response.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. Chair, if you allow me to just go slightly back, while the policy issues you've given guidance, we did not have a policy at the time of audit, but it has since been fully addressed. We now have a policy in place and will provide the evidence because, as you said earlier, it keeps recurring. It is correct at that time, but as now we have the policy. Coming to...
It's part of this document.
It was a response to the queries because, as you see, it was a query. And you say you will give back guidance later. But as at the time of audit, the policy was not there. But as now we talk, we have a policy in place.
Okay, proceed, Governor.
Thank you. On the question of distribution of relief food, I wish to respond as follows, Chair. The general expenditure for the year was 104,390,996. That comprises of various expenditures towards and foreseen activities that were done to alleviate the suffering of those affected by COVID-19. Further, Kenya shillings 15,469,450 were expenses incurred towards purchase of relief food in Kajiado Central Sub-County. Daily signed delivery note, invoices, beneficiaries list, and acknowledgement from Sub-County and ward administrators were provided to the audit team in our subsequent engagements. Chair, here, the situation before was that we did not provide the documents required, which are the delivery note, the invoices, and even acknowledgement by the teams on the ground. And we wish, Chair, to refer you to Annexure 2, which now confirms that the document required are now provided. And we wish to express our regrets for the delay in providing those documents. I submit, Chair.
These are copies. They are copies of the beneficiaries plus the signatures, and we have not seen the original. But what I said in general is that we undertake to verify the distribution list in the audit of 2023-2024 and ensure that they are compliant with the requirements, so that we are so sure and we can assure Kenyans that when there is relief food and there is distribution, it reaches or it supports the intended beneficiaries.
For this kind of query, actually there are two concerns. The one, for this kind of queries, I think that will depend heavily on the auditor, because I think that the query here was that there was no documentation on the 15 million. And the documentation that have been brought here are supposed to respond to that. So to the extent that the auditor could be comfortable, with that expense, then I wouldn't have a problem.
I think this is basically the classic case of late submission of documents. So, the law is very clear. So basically, it's in the recommendations, I believe you will mention consequences of submission of documents late. Because they have 3 months to collect the documents and avail them to the auditors.
So when documents are given late and some of them are in copies, conclusively you can't say that indeed this is a support. But what I think the writer that I've put is that in our subsequent audit, that is 2023, 2024, we will go down there again physically and ask for these documents, verify the originals, and even sample beneficiaries and come and report back to this particular committee. Secondly, on the issue of 15 million and 104 million, normally we expect that when you pick a component and that component is reading 104 million under, let me say, general expenses, and we have a gap here in terms of fuel which was not supported, again we have an issue about distribution of relief food which was not supported, then as auditors we cannot confirm that the 104 under general expenses was accurate and it was valid on the basis of those gaps. That is why we have that conclusion. But the issue, the question, the issue in question here is the 1,500,000 which has now been addressed, and then the 15 million under relief food. That is why we are making that conclusion, Chairman.
Just give us your confidence or lack of confidence thereof that these documents that are responding to this query are from, because 15 million is not pocket change. And then, auditor, I want you to help me guide the governor, because I think this mostly you might all go and say to the governor now. You cannot allow, even in the case of emergency. Governor, are we together? You can't allow, even in the case of emergency, an expense that is product or service based to be a general expense. Because that is where the auditor is going to have a lot of trouble, and they're going to have a lot of trouble. Because a general expense that is going to 45 million or 44 million or even above 10 million is no longer a general expense. It's a product or service expense. Because if you don't articulate as that, you're going to confuse people. Because general expenses in your running is your day-to-day, it is your utility, it is your transport here and there, it is your computers, it's your printing. You see those small things that compute the general expense. But if you put this under general expense, the challenge is going to be this for the auditor. In executing that 45 million, Governor, are we together? In executing it, to be able to give people relief food, you're going to have general expenses.
The second issue is late submission of documents. Governor, you know, late submission of documents, sometimes it may give a wrong picture of the true position on the ground in relation to a query, like in this case. So I think it's important that those who manage the audit reports are able to provide all the documents required by the auditor within that audit cycle.
B, without justification fail to provide information required under the Act. C, without justification fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under the Act. D, submit false or misleading information. E, misrepresent or knowingly mislead a member of staff of the Office of the Auditor General or a professional acting under the Act. Or F, interfere with or exert undue influence on any staff of the Office of the Auditor General or on any person authorized by the Auditor General to perform functions under the Act. Subsection 2, a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or to both.
So failure to provide information to the auditor that is required is an offense. So let's proceed to the 2022, query marked number 2, that is an approved emergency expenditure.
An approved emergency expenditure, that is paragraph 2. During the year under review, a total expenditure of 211,384,154 was incurred on general expenses. Although the fund management provided expenditure report forwarded to the county assembly for tabling and approval, there was no evidence that the reports were received, deliberated on, and approved by the county assembly as required by section 10(1), 2, and 3 of Kajiado County Emergency Fund Act of 2015. In the circumstances, the fund management was in breach of the law.
We wish to respond, Chair, that the county government, the executive side, has prepared and submitted the expenditure reports to the county assembly for approval as provided by law, and the evidence is attached. What is happening, Chair, here is that while we have submitted to the assembly, we have not been able to push the assembly enough to do their part. But as shown by the annexure, we have submitted the reports to the assembly. So we pray, Chair, that you allow us time to see whether we can have the assembly complete their part, which then will complete this audit query.
We have evidence of it being received by the clerk of the assembly. However, what the auditors have requested is that they respond back from the assembly, the approval of the report. That is what we do not have. And that, as directed by chair, is something that the governor has to follow up with the assembly. But our evidence is that these reports were submitted. The table that you are referring to is just a summary that shows the date that it was prepared and the date it was received by the county assembly.
Yeah, but it has taken too long. Let's call a spade, because I don't see why we should be deliberating on this issue, which is a very simple issue with an office, whereby the person mandated to do this and surrender you the approvals should have done it a long time ago. The governor should not be here responding to such petty issues, whereby the personnel is in office and should be able to surrender these documents to you. So that's why I ask, is there a challenge? So that then we proceed and do a report and say, can we summon this clerk who cannot be able to give you the particular approvals as requested by the auditors, because they cannot move without that. So that's why I highlighted and asked that.
The simple issue with this query is an approval by the county assembly. And the only way to remedy this query is to get that approval from the county assembly. So that the auditors can be able to resolve this query. So let's move to the next query.
Review of the financial records, including payment vouchers, revealed that the fund management implemented 3 projects at a cost totaling to Kenya shillings 5,649,443. The projects undertaken included construction of a toilet block, refurbishment of a dormitory, and refurbishment of ECD classroom. However, fiscal verification in the month of November 2022 revealed that the projects were incomplete, had visible cracks on the floors, indicating poor and substandard workmanship. The management has not explained the reason for non-delivery of service by the contractors, even though full payments were made. In the circumstances, the public may not have obtained the value for money.
We have responded to the emergencies through the refurbishment of a band or rest down dormitory in Kajiado High School, the construction of a sunk toilet in a Silanke Primary School, and refurbishment of a cracked ECD class in the Mutrani Primary School. The work was done as per the design and work quantities, and the completion certificates were issued by public work officers to facilitate payment of the certified work done. However, these structures developed defects during utilization when the contract agreements were still within the defect liability period. The respective contractors were instructed to carry out the required repairs as per the attached letter, that is Annex 6. The defects have since been corrected as per the attached engineer's report.
Chair, I think this matter is just straightforward. All that needs to be done is a physical evaluation of what the governor has presented, and then through that we'll get the actuals.
So I think, auditor, you will make a physical inspection, and we will review this query in the next audit cycle. Is under year ended June 2020, irregular bursary disbursements. That is query number 1. Query number 2 is in the year ended June 2022, inaccuracies in financial statements. And query number 3, misstatement of fund administration expenses.
The opinion was qualified. Paragraph 2. Irregular bursary disbursement. The statement of financial performance reflects other grants and payments, that is bursary disbursement balance of 107,794,130, being bursary disbursements to students in the year under review. An audit review confirmed that out of the total bursary disbursement of 107,794,130, an amount of 30,119 was disbursed without supporting approval minutes by the bursary committee, and a total of 53,285,920 was disbursed without approval by the county bursary committee, contrary to regulation 13.1 of the Kajiado County Education Bursary Grants and Scholarship Fund, regulation 2015. Further, records held confirm that bursaries totaling 300,000 were awarded to Ewaso Kedong Ward as per approved minutes of 17th January 2020. However, an additional amount of bursary disbursement of 1,390,000 was made to the above ward without approval. No correspondence was provided by the management on the complaint or reason for failure to issue bursaries to the approved and awarded applicants.
That the establishment of a ward bursary committee was a requirement as per the Bill of 2015, Section 13.1. The same section was amended in the Kajiado County Education Bursary Grants and Scholarship Fund Regulation 2016 that created ward bursary committees. Copies of the bill for 2015 and Act 2016 are hereby attached for your perusal as Appendix 2.1 and Appendix 2.2. During the year 2019-2020, management disbursed bursaries of Kenya shillings 107,794,130. Ward bursary committees minutes for various wards are hereby attached.